Um, Hello everyone, my name is Mohammed Aegis Rahman and I am a level 3 year 1 media student, and this is my final major project that I'll be showing and producing to my tutors. Yeah. So what's it going to be about? It's going to be about, it's going to be a video podcast, and because, since I already got skills in from my editing and my camera skills, so I feel like it would be way more better if I do this since it's like my strongest point. My aim for this FMP is to get a grade that is above a pass and merit and distinction, since I could since I'm pretty sure my grade is like a pass going to merit, so hopefully I can get like a merit or maybe a distinction. So the title is still a work in progress, but I'm still thinking about it. So I'm hoping to get it done before pre-production work starts, and and yeah, get it done before pre-production. Well, what is the content in my podcast? So since my video podcast is like 30 minutes long, I decided decided to do two different subjects. So for the first part, I wanted to talk about two movie franchise, Star Wars and Harry Potter, and how both their like stories and like plot points are very similar to each other. And the second part of the podcast is probably me ranking all the Star Wars films and the Harry Potter films together. So yeah, the reason why I wanted to do this topic, since when I was a kid, my whole family they loved Harry Potter, so I watched all the Harry Potter films. I wasn't like a bookworm, so like my sisters, so I couldn't read the books, but I watched the film, and I recently started going to Star Wars, so yeah, and now I watch most of the films of the franchise. So yeah, next one. So my inspirations, I did some research. So this is some like Star Wars podcast, but I also have other like Harry Potter podcasts that I haven't run because yeah. So obviously you've got two video podcasts and just one audio podcast base, because since most of the other Star Wars and Harry Potter podcasts were like audio based, I tried really hard to find both of these two YouTube channels that do video podcasts. I watched some of their content, and all of their content they do like different things, but they pretty so like one talks about news and they analyze trailers for new Star Wars films, and some talk about the law and like talks about alternate endings that should have happened, and yeah, that's like my inspirations. Um, so my mood board. So since I've been working on like going to different types of Harry Potter and Star Wars podcasts. So like I got these two very popular podcasts. I want my logo to look a bit like that and a bit like those, so I could like mix it and change it a bit. So yeah. My initial research when I started this is obviously researching these podcasts. Also researched this one. This is like just a Harry Potter podcast on YouTube. I think it's like audio based, so yeah, you can see it from here. And research about this YouTuber called Becky. She does Harry Potter content, and she also has like a separate playlist where she does podcasts with her friends. and yeah, they just talk about Harry Potter and the lore behind it. My target audience. So for my primary target audience for Star Wars, it's just 35 to 44-year-old men, since most of the Star Wars films, except excluding the sequels, have um, male protagonists, so they can relate to them. Their socio-economic grade are like C1 to C2, meaning they're like manual skilled workers. The psychographic category are mostly mainstream, since they, want to endorse in the latest news or trend. Um, so yeah, they will be a fan of Star Wars, since they would most likely watch it when they were younger, and when it was premiered in cinemas. Um, the secondary target audience would be 15 to 21 years old. So the more younger generations who are working, the same as the primary target audience. That's the socio-economic grade are like C1, C2. Um, and they're also like mainstreamers as well. And the reason that they would like Star Wars is because of the TV shows and how Disney is producing more Star Wars content. Uh, but for the primary target audience for Harry Potter, it's usually young adults to teenagers, aged 13 to 21. Um, their socioeconomic grade is an E, since they're students, and their psychographic category is also mainstreamers, since they also like to endorse in trends. Since they will be fans, since because of the movies they were a big hit, and since because of the movie they might go into reading the books to see what else was new there. Um, uh, Knowing about this topic, in franchise, I could, use that to my advantage to entertain my followers, since, like, bring up, like, Star Wars topics or, like, Harry Potter memes, because, there's, like, a bunch of, like, pop culture reference between two franchise. So, yeah. My technical resources. So for my final major project, obviously, I would be needing a camera operator, you know. But obviously, for the camera operator, I thought about, doing it myself, so that, I mean, since I know how to operate a camera. But if I'm filming and, for some reason the cameras are going to be out of focus, I should have someone that I know to check on the cameras, so they won't leave, so they would fix it and make sure it's not out of focus. I'll also be hanging in with the microphone, XLR cables and zooms that will be given to you by David. I will make sure that the cameras, the zooms, have SD cards in them, and also they are not low on battery, because my tutor warned me that you should check the batteries in case it just goes off in the middle of filming. I'll also have lighting that isn't too bright to the point it will hurt my eyes, but it won't be too dark to the point the camera can't really see me, and it won't show me when I review the footage. So props and locations. The location that I will be using for my video podcast, it will be the TV studio where I will set up more my equipment and for my video podcast. The props I'll be using is this mask that I have, for Darth Vader mask, to get the Star Wars fans' attention. And I also have a picture of me from when I was at Harry Potter Studios. and I was on those like interactive room, like green screen rooms. So yeah. For the background, I would obviously use a black cloth that they have in the TV studio. So for the background. Research I will do next. I will do for the research after when I get into pre-production. I will do more research on, the more similarities between both Star Wars and the Harry Potter franchise. That's for the first part. For the second part, I will research more about other Star Wars and Harry Potter movies that I haven't watched yet. So, like for example, I know that there's spin-off Star Wars films, and I know that, and I haven't watched them, and I haven't watched the Fantastic Beasts films. So I might, review them and just give my thoughts on the movie. So my ranking for the second part would be, definitive. My contingency plans. So these are like contingency plan if one of these. So like for example, if something goes wrong, I have like a backup plan. So if something happens in the TV studio or isn't free, I could ask David can I just bring the cameras at home and film it at home since I got space for my video podcast. Another one of my contingency plans is to have a second camera filming me at the exact same time as the first one, so that if the family, because I remember my last unit, I had two cameras, and when I went to review the footage of my interview, apparently one of the camera was going in and out of focus, but we had another camera that wasn't going in and out of focus, and it was a panic shot. So whenever this first camera would go out of focus, I would switch to the panning camera for in editing. So yeah, so that's one of my contingency plan if that happens. Thank you for listening to my pitch. Do you have any questions?
Perfect, thank you. My first question would be, are there no contributors? Will it be just yourself talking in the video podcast?
See, that was I was thinking about, because I could get one of my friends, but I feel like I'd had my friends before, so I was thinking of trying something different, since
Does it have to be your friend?
I just wanted someone to talk about that has the same opinion, same interests as me, Star Wars and Harry Potter or something.
But there are a lot of people in the world who like Star Wars and Harry Potter.
Yeah, but I know those people, but I don't think they would do it since they live far away and they can't do that.
You need to. It's your FMP. I think you need to be thinking a little bit bigger than just your friends. And there are a lot of people in Luton who probably like Star Wars and Harry Potter. Yeah. So you should maybe consider having a contributor. In podcasts, contributors give you someone to bounce off.
Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be for the whole length, let's say for 30 minutes. If you wanted to be yourself giving reviews and talking, you can have it. Then maybe for a brief part or like inserts inside, you can have contributors. Maybe not even just one, you can have multiple.
Yeah. You could have someone come in for Star Wars and then someone else come in for Harry Potter.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then are you going to brand your podcast in terms of like with logo, and are you going to create a YouTube channel just so you have a bit more presentation?
Yeah, so I was thinking I would start my own YouTube channel, and I would learn how to Photoshop like my logo and put it on like my make a head banner for my YouTube channel.
And as you said, you haven't had a name yet, but you have one in mind. What are the possibilities that you have considered for titles?
I mean, this might sound a bit because I was thinking about going back to my last project,
Mm-hmm.
the Galactic Dispatch, and just use that, but I just feel like that would be, a bit too, I don't want to reuse the same stuff again.
Well, if it's your brand, if it's something that you came up with, there's no harm in reusing it. if that's the title.
Or if you like it.
I think you did very, very well in outlining the target audience for Star Wars and the target audience for Harry Potter, but you have not outlined the target audience for your own show. Yeah, you need to define the target audience for your product, not the products that already exist. Yeah, remember your product is its own independent piece of media, so we want to know the target audience for what you're creating, not what has already been created by someone else. Yeah. And then just a little bit of advice. You've said about having the mask and the picture of you on the broom.
Yeah.
Please think about other things that could be included as part of your set. It's always overlooked when people do video podcasts. The set and the props are always overlooked. It's so important about what is around you and what surrounds you. It's just as important as what you're saying. So just a mask and a broom isn't going to be enough for a set for a video podcast. Yeah, the set is really important. Okay. That's all for me.
Yeah, for me as well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Well done.